In the ancient land of Uz, there lived a man named Job. He was not just wealthy, he was deeply respected, a man who feared God and avoided evil. The Bible describes him as blameless and upright. Job had 7 sons, 3 daughters, thousands of animals, and countless servants. In fact, he was considered the greatest man in all the East. But Job's faith wasn't rooted in wealth. His heart was fixed on honoring God. Every time his children gathered for celebrations, Job would offer sacrifices, just in case they had sinned in their hearts. He was a man who put God first, always. Now, picture the scene far above, the angels presenting themselves before God. But Satan also appeared. God pointed to Job's faithfulness, but Satan argued, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Take away his blessings, and surely he will curse you." And so, God allowed Satan to test Job, but with limits. Satan could take away Job's possessions, but not his life. Not long after, disaster struck. In a single, heartbreaking day, Job's life collapsed. Raiders stole his oxen and donkeys. Fire fell from the sky and consumed his sheep. His camels were carried off by enemies. And worst of all, a mighty wind destroyed the house where his children were gathered, and they all perished. Imagine the pain, losing everything in one day. Job tore his robe, shaved his head, and fell to the ground. Yet instead of cursing God, he said, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." But Satan wasn't finished. He insisted Job only remained faithful because he still had his health. So God allowed Satan to strike Job with painful sores, from the crown of his head to the soles of his feet. Job sat in ashes, scraping himself with broken pottery. Even his wife, crushed by grief, cried out, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job replied with words of deep faith, "Shall we accept good from God, and not trouble?" Soon, 3 of Job's friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to comfort him. At first, they simply sat in silence for 7 days, grieving with him. But when they finally spoke, their words became heavy. They accused Job of wrongdoing, insisting he must have sinned to deserve such suffering. Job, however, held firm. He defended his innocence and cried out to God, longing for understanding. His heart wrestled with confusion, pain, and faith. And then, it happened. God spoke to Job out of a whirlwind. But instead of giving explanations, God revealed his power, the mysteries of creation, the vastness of his wisdom, and the reality that there are things beyond human comprehension. Job, humbled and awestruck, replied, "I spoke of things I did not understand. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore, I repent in dust and ashes." In the end, God restored Job's fortunes. He gave him twice as much as before, more sheep, more camels, more oxen, and more donkeys. He blessed Job with 7 more sons and 3 more daughters, the most beautiful women in the land. And Job lived to see his children, grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren, for generations in all. The story of Job reminds us that faith is not about what we gain, but about trusting God even when life feels unbearable. Job's suffering wasn't punishment, it was a test that revealed the depth of his trust in God. When we face struggles that don't make sense, Job's story teaches us that God's purposes are greater than our understanding. And sometimes, our trials are the very moments that deepen our faith. So the next time life feels overwhelming, remember Job's words, "Blessed be the name of the Lord." Thanks for watching. If this story touched you, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future uploads.